John. I appreciate that. Always enjoy being down here. It's been a great event every time I've been, and I just appreciate your support and the way that you guys just love the Indiana Hoosiers, and so do I. So just really want to talk about our team. I really do. I want to get you a glimpse of where we're at. Just left Colts practice to come down here, took our whole staff here this afternoon, and get a chance to be together today, spent time with our players this morning, and then we'll have all of our new guys coming in tomorrow. So this new class that Don was talking about, the highest ranked class in our program, majority of those guys will be here in the morning, and we'll start that process, get those guys with their physicals and then with the orientation and getting to class, and we'll start lifting and running and going to school on Monday. So that's an exciting time for us. Just really proud of some of our seniors. We've got Wes Martin, who is right now running with the ones with the Washington Redskins as a rookie, which is impressive and not surprising on my end because I think he's an awesome young man, a great football player. Brandon Knight's right now running with the twos with the Dallas Cowboys and their OTAs, which is also not surprising. And then I think that Dan Gotch is going to be the starting long snapper for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, all three of those guys as rookies. So those guys have done a great job representing all of you and all of us in their great opportunity in the NFL, which is obviously a huge goal when young men come to play at Indiana. So as far as the guys that we have right now, I'm really excited about this team. I know that you watch us play, and the way things finished last season was a disappointment, frustration on my part, but at the same time, we were a really young football team. And I love the way our team fights. I love the way this team has bought in. I think it was reflective of the way our staff was able to recruit after this last season and continue to fight and put ourselves in a position to be eventually where we want to be. And so as we go through, we only have 12 seniors this coming fall, which is not very many. We actually only have 10 juniors. So we're a very young football team. We are going to be an experienced young team. We played a whole bunch of these guys last year, and that's exciting for me because I really feel like that we have a chance to take the steps that we want to take as a program here in the very near future. But the bottom line is it's going to take a lot of hard work. And we have a tremendous opportunity in front of us, but I believe this. If you want to build something great, the love for what you're building has to be greater than the challenges you're going to face to build that something special. And to me, that's what we have to deal with every single day and have the mindset that it takes to be able to break through and do things that I believe this program can do. And that begins this season. This is going to be our year number 3 for our staff. We've kept our staff intact for the most part. We do have a new offensive coordinator that I'm very excited about, Caleb DeBoer, and he's done a tremendous job this spring. And you'll see that in our offense when we open the season on August 31st in the Lucas Oil Stadium against Ball State. That's going to be our first game of the year. So I encourage all of you to be there. It's going to be a great atmosphere, great opportunity for us to get this 2019 season off to a great start. And then 2 weeks later after that, we host the Ohio State Buckeyes. But bottom line is that we got 2 full months ahead of us that are going to be really, really critical. How we develop. We got the best strength coach in America, Dave Ballou, and Dr. Ray's his right-hand guy. They do a phenomenal job. We'll share a quick little story about that. So they're doing an awesome job in the weight room, and word's getting out. So we had this offseason, as is usually the case, we had a head coach get a job at Major University, and he comes knocking, tries to steal our strength coach, and so I had to go to bat for that, and was able to ward off that one. And the next guy gets a big-time job, and he comes and wants to steal our strength guy away, and fought that guy off. But then guy gets an adjustment at his leadership with the Miami Dolphins. And so I knew we'd have a little bit bigger challenge there. This is all true. So I had to go off the road recruiting and go in front of Fred and our administration and talk about why we got to do everything we can to keep Dave Ballou and Dr. Ray with us because they're doing a phenomenal job. So they flew those guys down there, interviewed them, offered them the job, and but our administration stepped up. And I say that for a reason because it takes commitment from the top. And they stepped up and did a great job of making sure that we didn't lose those 2 guys because there's only 32 teams in the NFL. There's only 32 teams that represent the whole world. They don't play football in the NFL in other countries. And so the bottom line is those guys that came after them realized that these guys are pretty special. And we bring guys in on visits, and the big reason why I think we recruit so well is they see that they can be developed in a way that's different than other places. And the facility we have and the guys we have in there is second to none. And so that's a big reason why we got the great evaluators and great developers at Indiana. And that's a big part of that in that weight room. So I just really appreciate our administration, their support, and stepping up and keeping those guys with us for a long haul and making this place really, really special. I also think about our defense. And so I'm going to be involved defensively as I always have been. I'm not going to call it, as many of you know. But at the same time, Kane Wong is going to be our new DC. Haven't changed the system. I'll be involved in that very heavily. But he's a guy that I've been with for many, many years. And Actually, his dad's the one that I coached with at Ole Miss and Arkansas State, where I learned this system from. So very confident in him. He's been a coordinator for 4 years, Division I level, prior to coming here with us a year ago and being our linebackers coach. And so very excited about our defense. They did a great job this spring. A lot of young fellows on that side of football that can run, that love to hit, and a lot of great energy on that side of the ball. So excited about our quarterback room. We've got 3 guys in that position that are going to compete for that spot. I know Peyton's done an amazing job of being a great leader, and he's the returning starter. He's going to have to fight and claw and scratch to stay in that spot because we've got 2 guys behind that want his job. But he's a guy that's going to compete, and I love him. I love all 3 of those guys. We've not had a healthier quarterback room since I've been here in regards to having 3 guys that compete and play at your most critical position on the field. And then really excited about our receiver core, our running backs. Those guys, we got to keep their head on a swivel because we got a whole bunch of those guys in that position now that can play. Got to keep those guys healthy, but at the same time, we got to be able to be physical, run the football, throw the football, score points, and then attack on defense. And so that isn't going to change. I believe in what we're doing. The bottom line is this: we have a tremendous challenge in the division that we play in each and every year. That's never going to change. They came up with a stat from ESPN at the end of this season. In the last 6 years, there's been 2 teams that have played the most top 5 programs in the country, and that's Alabama and Indiana. Alabama's played 9, Indiana has played 8 in the last 6 seasons. That just tells you the level that we're playing at and who we have to compete against every single week. And I promise you this, we went to Michigan last year. They didn't finish the way we wanted to, but I promise you this, they knew they played the Indiana Hoosiers, and they didn't like it. Yeah, I got a whole bunch of nasty text messages and emails. This is a true story. Because of how physical our team played. They didn't think that we were playing very, very nice. Well, I got news for those fellas up there, okay? That's how we're going to play. Physical, mean, and nasty. And that ain't going to change. Our theme for 2019 is the word grit. It stands for perseverance and passion towards a long-term goal. And I picked that for a reason. There's a book that we read by Angela Duckworth that is a psychologist from Harvard, and I had our whole staff read it. Many of you may have read it. If you haven't, it's an awesome book. And thought I'd just define where we're at in our program. Year number 3, we know what we have to do. There's no big secret. All right. Bottom line is that it's going to take that kind of mindset. And the book starts by, I want to tell a couple stories. I'm going to sit down so you can hear somebody else talk. But to start the book off, it talks about the military academy at West Point and how there's a kind of a phenomenon that they've kind of tried to figure out since 1955, and that is you got about 2,500 individuals about 25,000 individuals that they go through and they try and figure out who deserves to get into West Point. It takes 2 years for that process to come to fruition. They whittle it down to about half, and then they get to the final group where about 1,200 cadets are going to be admitted to the West Point Academy. But the interesting part of that is once they get into that process and they get those 1,200 cadets on campus that first summer, about 20% end up quitting within the first 2 months. And it really is fascinating. You think about it. It takes you 2 years to get into a place, and within 2 months you decide, I'm out of here. Okay? Interestingly, I coached one of those individuals that didn't make the academy, was there, thought he was a perfect fit for it. Had 2 guys go out of a certain class when I was a high school coach, and one ended up making it, graduated, being the starting quarterback, and the other one, who I thought was a perfect fit there, didn't last. But the concept is this: what causes somebody to want to fight through that? Because a big part of them being weeded out is about a 2-week, intensive, 10 hours a day, just absolute putting you through the ringer, mentally, physically, in every way possible. And that goes on and on and on. And the bottom line is they've been trying to figure out for a long time, how do you determine who can fight through that? And what they learned is, it's grit. It's not your IQ. It's not the kind of personality you have. It's not the ability to solve problems and get along with people or whatever. It is one simple word called grit. And so to me, that's what we're looking for. And so the second story is kind of wrapped up into all that concept. I had a chance to coach a lot of awesome young men when I coached high school football for many years. I'm very proud to be a former high school coach. And coached 9 years with Ben Davis in Indianapolis. And so my second year there, we're getting ready to get into the summer. And you always get into, you start doing your 7-on-7s and move to our first competition. And so I had a senior that had been, since he was a kid in the program and finally got a chance to be a senior. And I put him with the 2s, which basically means, he wasn't running with the 1s. He wasn't projected to be a starter in his mind, and I wasn't thinking he was one either. And I put him with the second group. And he was really upset about that. He didn't say anything about it, but I could just tell. And so we went through that whole process, and he did his deal, and he never said anything to me. And went through and went to the rest of the summer, and he just kept getting a little bit better all the time. And he get into fall camp, and you start working, you start learning, and you start getting ready to start your season, and he started making plays. I didn't think he was big enough, didn't think he was fast enough, really didn't think he was good enough to be a starter. I'd be a great special teams guy and help our football team. I knew he carried a bunch, awesome kid, all those kind of things, but just didn't think he was good enough. And so, but he proved to me by the start of our first game that he was. So long story short, with that story with him, is we go through the season, ended up having a great year there, went undefeated, won the first state championship when I was there, and he was the big reason why. And we never really talked about it, about what really happened with him. I knew he was upset. I knew he felt like I was kind of disrespecting him because he was a senior finally. This was his dream to play and finally be a starter in our program and win a state championship, lead us to that point. And so, but I talked about it. Everywhere I coached in college, I talked about this kid and told our players about his personality, and would try to use it to motivate guys to be able to prove that they deserve to play. Because a lot of times kids they're not really out on the depth chart and all those kind of things, are frustrated. So bottom line was, I was watching Dan Gottsel this past winter at the Senior Bowl in Mobile. I was going up the escalator, and a kid gave my name, said, "Coach Allen," and it was this kid. And I knew he was with the Baltimore Ravens, was a scout. Don't get to see much because he mostly scouts the West Coast and out that part. He lives in Phoenix, and so I went over there, gave him a huge hug, and hadn't seen him for a long time, and we talked for a little bit, and right away he started talking about what happened. And I said, "You know what, Davis, I've talked about you for every college I've been at and told your story, how you fought through and you showed." We started talking about the word grit. Well, he's one of the top scouts with the Baltimore Ravens. And the bottom line, he said, "Coach," he said, "let me tell you what really happened." He said, "Remember when you put me with the 2s, that first 7-on-7 tournament?" I said, "Yeah," we kind of laughed about it. And I said, he said, "You know what?" He said, I was ticked. He said, I felt like, man, you just didn't believe in me and really just kind of put me with the young guys and showed me you didn't really think I was going to be a guy. This was my dream, and you crushed everything I wanted." And at that point, so I got in my car, and I'm just playing like crazy with my dad. And I'm, saying all sorts of stuff and just moaning and groaning. And my dad finally said, "Are you done?" And he said, I told my dad, "I guess." He said, "What are you going to do about it?" This is his dad talking. He's telling me now what really happened, 10 years later. This has been back in 1999. And he said, my dad sat there and said, "You going to prove Coach Allen wrong, or are you going to sit here and complain about Coach Allen?" And he said, from that day forward, we came up with a plan. After every single workout that we did at Ben Davis, he said, I would go home with my dad. And we went out and we bought every mechanism possible to develop speed. They had a weight belt, they had one of those parachutes, they had bungee cords, they had all those different things that they bought. And he said, my dad was committed to helping me find a way to get fixed. I pretty much told him he wasn't fast enough. What? And so he worked his tail off. And then I will say this, those kids worked extremely hard. So to do all that and go home and do extra was impressive. And he said, "Coach, I did that the whole summer. Every single day. I was going to prove that you were wrong about my abilities. And I was going to play. I was going to be a starter for Ben Davis." And the bottom line is this. There's a couple lessons in all that. First of all, to you dads out there, what an awesome lesson. He didn't come and complain to me. He never sent me a long email. I've gotten some of those before. He didn't call me up and say nasty things to me on the phone. He didn't let the kid quit. He didn't let him transfer. He made him stand up and fight. He taught that young man a valuable life lesson, his own son. And as we sat there and talked, we started talking about grit. And now, as the Baltimore Ravens lead scout, they have a whole section in their evaluation process called the grit scale. And they go through and they try and figure out how can we determine who has grit. And that's the guys we want to draft. And that's the guys we're trying to go find in this state and across this country to come to Indiana and represent you and me and our entire university. And I promise you this, that's what we're doing. I believe in this football program. I believe in what we're building and how we're building it. Day by day, step by step, moment by moment. This team believes in what we're doing. I've never seen a group of guys work any harder than the team that we're molding right now. We got a lot of hard work ahead of us. 2 months to go here for this summer, and then into 3 weeks of fall camp, and then 1 week prior to the start of our season. So I want to see all you guys up at campus this summer, or excuse me, this fall, supporting us, filling those stands up, building a brand new locker room that's going to be state-of-the-art, first class. Appreciate your support for that and everybody that's given to that, making that possible. It's going to take all of us to do this. I believe we're going to special places with special people. I love this university. I believe in this program. Go IU, Elio.